Yeah, my name is Femilee Olawuyi. Um, I am a Yoruba guy or Yoruba man.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started with this episode.
Let me say, I'm a man now by God's grace. I'm a married man, a family, a man with three children, three boys. Call me father of boys. Yeah, actually, I my nickname people normally say Femilee. Who is Femilee? Actually, I prefer people calling me by that name, Femilee Olawuyi. It's just quite unfortunate that it's not in my certificate. That's why I don't include it in most places. But I'm being preferred called by that name, Femilee Olawuyi.
Family.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, actually, where we were going when those days of Bruce Lee, Jet Li. In short, Bruce Lee. Jet Li hasn't started then. So there were few people in the environment that has television. So this VHS video. That's what we normally watch then. So we normally peep through the windows of some other family in the neighborhood. So when they watch this, Bruce Lee, I am Bruce Lee. So they call me Femilee ever since then. While we're growing up, that was so many years ago. So started calling me Femilee. So I grew up with that name, Femilee. In short, I would say now I've started seeing people bearing Femilee online. So I would say I was one of the first that you know was called by that name, Femilee, because there was no internet, there was nothing, um, social media then that I was called by that name. So definitely I started that name.
Mr. Family. All right.
Yes.
Now, tell me, were you born in Lagos? Can you say anything about your childhood, where you first start to form yourself, your identity? Let me know about that.
Yeah, actually, I like telling people about my upbringing because that's the story I share these days that motivate people, that inspire people. When you grow up in an environment where the peer groups that you grew up with influence your life, and you find yourself being moved away from the purpose why you are being created. Actually, I grew up in an environment in Bariga. Bariga. Bariga is an environment where a lot of people go there. I don't even want to. Even when I met my wife and I took her to where I grew up from, she said, can someone good come out from this environment? I said, definitely.
Yeah, a
Someone
good
good.
example of it.
Yeah, someone good to come out from this environment. It's an environment like all this um, Makoko area, all this Achebule area, but it's just that some part of Bariga is kind of posh. But I grew up in the environment where we were not posh. Like the example I first cited that when few people had television where we were growing up and we would always peep through someone's window, we watch TV from the junction where someone renting the video and VHS out will be showing a particular Yoruba movie or all this. There was no really cinema movies then. It's just few local cinemas that we have in the environment. Okay, what do I want to really say there is fine. I was born and brought up in a Christian home, Christian background. My dad was a pastor, he's late right now, and he brought us up in the fear of the Lord. In short, most of my siblings never experienced what I experienced. Though we are living in a room, apartment, and still try to like my parents still try to like bring us up in a body kind of trying to like compare yourself with other people in the environment. But I didn't want to see myself as a butter. I want to feel among with those people that's what they were doing. I could remember when I first started this, when I went with some of my friends to do one odd job. They were carrying cement. Not that we were hungry at home, but I just like Let me just feel what these people are feeling. I went with them to carry one bag of cement. Man, I couldn't finish it because it was kind of heavy for me. I could remember a day I joined some of my friends a factory, pure water factory. I was trying to pack the bags. I, I stopped that work at 12 p.m. because it was so challenging for me. You understand? But nevertheless, I still find myself trying to mingle. And the more I try to mingle, the more I get to mix up with the bad ones. So those bad ones now influence my life to a certain level. When God have a particular purpose in your life, the devil will have a way of pushing you out of that purpose, trying to let you see some other things you are not seeing. That this is the way. Just when God told Adam not to eat from that fruit, and the devil serpent came to lure Eve to see things she has not been seeing, and she saw that the fruit was good for eating. So the devil made me see some other things that I was not seeing, and make the perception. So made it painted it to look good for me. And believe me, I could remember, okay, one guy that motivated me to like, oh, okay, the guy only in fought with some people, like 4 people. I was like, wow, I want to have power like this guy. I started trying to like mingle with him. Those are the kind of environment I grew up in, and I started being influenced into some certain things. That's just it.
So now let's go back to the meat. What do you do? I mean, what do people know you for?
To the glory of God, I am a photographer and a videographer. I major in events right now, event photography, and also I am a content creator, content writer. I am a social media manager as well. And to the glory of God, I pastor a church right now. And also, out of all God has destined for me to be, I I am a visionary, right, trying to run a vision to to a ministry, an NGO who is after soul winning. We call it Jean's Family. Jean that we put on Jean's Family. So I am running the vision of Jean's Family. Jean's Family is okay. Probably I will explain more on that. Okay, but God has put a lot of things in the mind, and God has like, hey, this is who I want you to be, and this is where I want you to be. At times you just like, this is what I want, but we as human, we don't really know what God wants for us. We just pursue things, we pursue goals, we pursue happiness, we pursue wealth, but we've forgotten that God that created us has a plan. He said, the plans I have for you is of good and not of evil.
In terms of photography and content creation, um, where do you actually major more? Is it in photography or in content creation? Anyway, content creation actually photography is part of that, I know, but I'm trying to see where you would like us to spend the next few minutes on.
Actually, photography is, let me say, is something, one of the discovery about myself, and later on when I stopped some certain behavior, some certain lifestyle, I asked God, okay, what do you want me to venture into? That was why I started photography. Okay, to make money, to put food on the table. But when we're talking about content writing, it's just what I love doing right now. Because while I was growing up, I grew up writing stories. I grew up writing stories about myself. I could remember when I was in secondary school, I had this book, an exercise book that I always write. Each time I met a lady, I would write it down. I met this so lady. I still have the book in my room. I met this so lady today. We spent time together. I bought her gala.
Sorry. That one is very important. Before there is a noise coming. There are some children making noise there. I don't know if it's
Yes,
possible to bribe them.
yes. Okay, yeah, like I was saying, that photography was just something that, though my dad was a photographer, so I normally use his camera to take pictures while I was in secondary school, all those things. Then followed one of brother in the area to sell pictures during those time when we have we call it wait and get in the parties. We sell pictures then 30 naira. So I'll normally follow him all about just now 30 naira per picture. So I normally follow him about to sell picture at the events. Whenever he snaps, I run to the lab to print it. So then I developed that interest. Then I grew up. I picked up a camera. I started becoming a photographer. Has been part of me. Part of me. While I was in secondary school, I do write. I used to that book is still at home. That one a size book. While I was growing up, I do write things I do. Each time I meet a particular lady, I'll put it down. I met Monilola today. I remember that girl then. Monilola today, we bought snacks together. We walked, and I asked her out. She said no. I met this so person. I used to write those my day-to-day activities down in that book. Then later we do have one book called Slum Book. I don't know if you know about the Slum Book. I was in the Interact Club, so we call it Slum Book. We write all things there. So I grew up writing those things. Then I joined drama department as well. I write stories. So I as we're talking to you now, I am writing a story already. Every day to day of my life is storytelling. So I enjoy more of storytelling. On LinkedIn, I believe I'm one of those that write story very well. And most of my fans or most of my people connectors, most of my connections love to always read from me because most of my stories inspire people and motivate people. I don't want people to make most mistakes I have made in my life.
What do you mean by those mistakes? The mistake that you have made in your life. Which one of them are you referring to?
Wow, there are so many. Like I said earlier, that um, you must know the purpose and plan of God for your life. Devil was there when God was creating a man. Devil knows that this man would would impact lives, or devil will know that this man will influence people. So he tried to divert your attention to something else which you don't know. Okay, for instance, things were kind of difficult. My dad had stroke. Okay, I tried to make money. I was working in a cyber cafe in 2002. I can remember. I was out of secondary school. You understand? So trying to make money for the family, try to support. I'm the firstborn, trying to support the home. And while working there at the cyber cafe, this internet fraudsters came to me and trying to help me out with some cash. Then instead of me to, as a good ambassador of that cyber cafe, I were asked not to allow people to spam or to do fraud there. I I was carried away with the token that guy gave to me, so I had to like venture into what they were doing. So that was how I joined the fraudsters, internet fraudsters just called Yahoo Yahoo. Okay. To the glory of God, I made so many mistakes. I dined with them. I to the level that I was almost lured to do a plus. I didn't know if the plan was also to use me to do the applause or to even because the intention was to introduce me to one woman to also help me to boost what I was doing. Okay. I was already making money and to boost more. Okay. So those life, thank God I flew away and some other things too that happened. trying to like go work elsewhere where you're not supposed to work. I almost joined courts because some people that I saw trying to like, you fight very well. I was like, wow, I wish to have this kind of power. And I never knew that they were courts. So I mingled with them the day they were planning to initiate me. Something happened. Thank God I was not initiated. Devil tried to move me away from the plan of God. Look at where I am today, trying to be as an instrument, not even trying to be. I am an instrument in the hand of the Lord. What if I had made that mistake and gone through it? I will be no more. Definitely, I will not be among those that will be fulfilling the destiny God has put.
That's great. All right, Femilee. If you have a young boy growing up in the same quarter that you were born in Lagos, who have basically inexperienced about life, looking at your story, what would you advise this young boy, this young Nigerian?
Like there was a content I wrote on LinkedIn few time trying to share my story, how I almost joined content. Not people commented and people felt I was only sharing the story. I told them in that content that I wasn't just trying to share story about myself, but just trying to tell you the paths that I walk and not making you walk through that path. I was influenced just because of the environment I grew up into. Some grew up from that environment. My younger brother grew up from that environment and never lived the life I lived. Okay, so environment doesn't really matter in what you are going through. It is you, your personal decision. It is your mindset, the way you see life. I saw life to be something else. I saw life that this is where I am supposed to be. Okay, this is what I am supposed to become. I'm supposed to be this powerful. I want people to fear me. And those things are disastrous. I try to have a group. Fine. Now I have groups. I have groups of people doing evangelism. I have groups of people praying together. But devil knew all this. He knew I'm supposed to have this kind of group. So he put some other things in my life, trying to see some other picture. I had group then too. And those group, all we were doing is trying to destroy things. All we were doing is trying to, fine, we did not rob. All we were doing is trying to obtain people. All we were doing is fighting. All we were doing is doing all sorts of things. You understand? But the devil knew that this is where I'm supposed to be, that I am supposed to be organizing groups. I'm supposed to be organizing seminars. I'm supposed to be organizing things to influence people to walk the path of righteousness. And the devil defeated. So all I want to tell young people, young chaps coming up about my story is you should be sensitive. Number one, try and know your God. I tell people in the journey of life, number one thing in the journey of life is know your God. Know God. Make God be the beginning and the ending of everything you are doing. Make God be the priority. Once you know God, then the second thing you need to know, you need to discover is yourself. Who are you? Discover your potentials. Discover the gifts God has given to you. Then you utilize it. Once you know God, God will make you discover that potential. Then number three that you need to know is to know where the purpose and plan of God for your life. Once you know God, you know your potentials, then you need to know the plan of God for your life, where God wants you to be, so that you will not miss it. That's all I have to say.
All right. Now, in this moment that was a little bit, we call it the dark moment of your life, no? Which role did your writing play there? Which role did your ability to write play at that time?
No, I have not even discovered who I was then. I never discovered the potential.
Okay. It's clear. It's clear now. Now, you did also be mention on the fact that you make money through content creation. through writing, I want to believe. And that is very important. In this podcast, we spend a lot of time about that. Can you share a little bit more light on that? The reason we are doing that is so that some other person that are listening to you can also learn and say, okay, let me also go and try this. So say something about that.
Yeah, I've made money through content creation. I've met people, and some messages are still in my DM trying to like to the extent that I want to cut some jobs off because there is a lot on my neck and there's a lot God even want me to do. So I try to like now content creation is it makes money. I see youth these days telling me there's no job. Even in my environment, I'm trying to let them know that who told you there's no job. There is job out there. Try and use the ability. You have a smartphone. Once you have a smartphone, don't tell me you cannot make money. You can write. You are knowledgeable. Write something. Once you can write something, you are creating a content already. Your content that you are creating, make sure it is valuable. Make sure it's giving value. Once it's giving value, some people are out there that are ready to pay for that value. That's all I have to say.
All right. How do you determine the kind of content that you should create for people? I don't know if you want to say anything about that, because now people hear content, but it might be really big now. They don't know how to sort of streamline themselves so that they don't just create content for the purpose of creating content. Because for you to be able to make money from content creation, you need to target a set of people, not just everybody. So I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Well, actually, there's one thing about content creation. You need to understand where you want to fall in. Who are your target audience? Okay, it is your niche that determines who your target audience are. Like I told you, I'm a storyteller. Okay, my storytelling might not be what gives money. My storytelling is just to influence people from not making mistakes. At least they are not paying for that value, but people are getting influenced and people are getting inspired in that value. So if you are trying to make money in content creation, okay, all you need to do is create a niche. There are different niche out there. Create that niche, know your target audience, know what they want, and you create content that fits in to what they want.
Now, Femilee, when did you realize that content writing was something you wanted to do? I mean, when did you realize that it was something that should be taken seriously? Again, this is so that somebody can look at your track and say, okay, yeah, if Femilee had done it, I can also do it.
Well, actually, LinkedIn has brought me to limelight that what I love doing was telling story can pay me. Though when on Facebook people have been saying copywriting, all those things, I'll look at them, please, what's all this? During lockdown, I tried to also read that thing to see if it would work, but it was kind of, I didn't really know how to figure it out. But earlier this year, that was when I discovered a lot of things. I met a lady on LinkedIn doing. She is my coach, and she's still my coach. She has a group, a family group on LinkedIn, BVLC, that train people on how to get visible on LinkedIn. And she coached me, she watched me, she made sure I was able to get visible and I was able to maximize the potential I have in me. She knows I have that potential. She saw it in me and she was able to coach me to that level to maximize that potential.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, within your neighborhood where you live, are you the only one that is writing, or are there maybe some other persons who also write, who maybe from time to time you do exchange idea, you do help each other? Because sometimes in this business of digital entrepreneurship, sometimes it can be very lonely. Sometimes we do need each other to be able to help ourselves and keep on going. And in most of the cases, you will realize that maybe your close friend who you grew up with, even your family member, they might just think that you are wasting time. Those are really very bitter truths sometimes. So that at a point you need somebody like you who is also hustling strongly like you doing the same thing. So I'm trying to understand if within your neighborhood there are some other persons you do share idea with that are doing the same thing.
Actually, there is none. Though I'm trying to create that avenue to see how to bring people together. The only people I share, the only community I have is BBLC community, created by Adedoyin Oluyemi. That community is not really in my neighborhood, but I see it as my neighborhood because we talk anytime we want to talk. We share ideas, we create things together. You understand? So now, even when I first started, my wife would always like, you are this, you are that, doing all this, writing from morning to night. Fine, like you said, it's kind of challenging when people just see you pressing phone every day. They will say, this guy has gone back to Yahoo Yahoo. He's pressing phone every day. But to me, I kept on moving until my wife started seeing what it's really meant. That wow, things are coming out from this. At least I've gotten so many jobs from there, from LinkedIn, photography jobs, videography jobs, as in so many, so many.
So, how do you go about doing your business, your photography business, and your content creation business? How do you search for clients? How do you embark on that? Maybe, for example, you don't have any client now. You go around and start doing that. Help me with that.
Well, actually, content creation also helped me more. Though I've been doing it, but I have not been doing it professionally. On Facebook, I will just create something because I believe in social media so much. You know, even the Yahoo that I did also helped me know that there's power in social media. Okay, so that social media helped me to create. I get most of my jobs on social media. Get most of my montage, most of my video content, most of my photography. Write story about it, then put it on on Facebook. So it has been driving traffic, it has been bringing traffic. So, but on LinkedIn, it's not all about advertising yourself alone. It's all about creating things that is valuable for people to first get connected to you, to first see that they can really partner with you.
What do you like more about content creation? Is it something that you like or you don't like it?
Okay, content creation, I just love it. There is no day in the morning that I will not like be eager to write a story. It's just that at times the consistency really matters, and I see a lot of people getting more consistent with teaching out good valuable content. And once I see them, I get inspired to also write more because I know I have so much story to share. I have so much to share. Even in that James family, there's so much to do out there about James family. James family, James family. Do you know the chain we put up? Okay. James, for instance, when you buy gin, there's a stock gin, there's what we call Akube gin. Some people like the stock gin, some people like it when it's used. So when you buy the stock gin and you've used it to some level and it's getting faded, to some people, you say, I don't need it anymore because it's getting faded. Then you give it out. As you're about to give it out, you see that some people are like, wow, I love this gin as it's faded. I love it. Let me make use of it. So now the person that loved the faded chain will wear it to some extent and it will be cutting off bit by bit. And you see someone else who say, don't throw it away, please. I love it when it's been torn some part. I will call it crazy chain. And to some people, wearing that crazy chain to the extent that some parts are getting torn off to the extent that it will get to the short chain and you will not put it on. Like me, I can't put on short chain, I can't put on crazy chain. But you see some people grabbing that short chain that I like it when it's a short chain. And you wear the short chain to the extent that it's getting torn at the back, getting tattered, and you're about to throw it away. You still see a mechanic or someone who want to make use of that gene to do his rough work. You can see gene is very, very valuable. Okay? Now, in human life, James family is all about people who are out there, who have lived bad life, who had lived lives that to some people it is a no again, that they can never become anything in life. Those are the people that James family is all about. James family is all about trying to meet with them, preach to them, connect them, bring them, clothe them, or bring them to Christ, and also ask them what they want to do. If they still want to learn any work or they want to go back to school. James family is trying to put them to where they are supposed to be. It's not about preaching to them and just leaving them there. Some people are there, when you preach to them, fine, they really want to accept that Christ. They really want to know, want to believe in what you are preaching to them, but they don't even know the way out. We are not only trying to preach them, but we are also trying to give them a second life, that this is another life you can live in. Just
Thank you
like
so
the
much for
prison
that.
yard, we are about going to
Yeah.
the prison yard and also like meet with people in the prison yard to preach to them and also connect them if they are about to come out. We make sure they come out to put them to where they are supposed to be. That is what James family is all about. And
That is
if
very interesting. Yeah, please go. How can they connect with you?
if people want to reach me, my name is Femilee Olawuyi on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, anywhere. Instagram, Femilee Olawuyi.
Thank you, Mr. Femilee. It has really been a pleasure talking with you. I like your story parts. In fact, I like everything that you are talking about, but I particularly like the story part because I'm talking about human story. So I really appreciate the time of the sharing and everything. Thank you so much. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewanfo. Thank you so much for listening and talk to you in the next episode.